Happy Friday to everyone today. Happy New Year as well. I hope 2021 is going okay for each and every one of y'all. And since this is my first video of 2021, I think it will be fun to start off this year with a PlayStation 4 game review. Although I am not a game reviewer here on YouTube, I just want to talk about my favorite games that I love to play on my YouTube channel. In fact, that's something new I want to start this year, is to not just make movie reviews, but to also talk about video games that I enjoy playing and that I can highly recommend for gamers to play. And in this case, I had a blast playing this game for the past few days, and that happens to be Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PlayStation 4. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a video game released on the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, and it is the sequel to the 2018 game made by Insomniac of Spider-Man. And in this video game, it takes place right after the events of the first Spider-Man game. Peter Parker has agreed to go with Mary Jane out of the country for her job as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. That job is requiring Mary Jane to go out of the country, and it's up to Peter Parker to go with her. And since Peter Parker has decided to leave New York for a while, it's up to Miles Morales to look over New York to make sure no crime is ever committed. And while Miles Morales is trying out his new spider powers all over New York, it's up to him to make sure that he becomes another Spider-Man that can become the hero for New York. As he's trying out his new spider powers in the game, he has to earn the respect from the citizens. He has to make sure that he is doing great tasks, preventing crime from happening, and pleasing the citizens, making sure that they are protected from all harm. Much like the 2018 game of Spider-Man, I had a blast with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Insomniac has done a fantastic job once again, and I have to say, this game is so well done. What I appreciate about the game is just how cinematic and beautiful it looks. Every single frame that you play as Miles Morales, it's so beautiful with the way how the graphics and animation look. This game is very colorful, it's very lifelike. It basically feels as if you're watching the movie Into the Spider-Verse, except you're actually in it since you're playing as Miles Morales. And the way how the animation and the flexibility looks whenever a character is swinging or whenever you're doing hand-to-hand combat, it's all handled perfectly, and you just gotta give the mechanics and praise to Insomniac for doing an excellent job again. The most important factor of this video game is the swinging. Since this is a Spider-Man video game, I have to say I enjoyed every single time I had to swing through New York City, because when you are playing as Miles Morales, the best part about this game is how you swing. And the coolest part is how you can do flips, kicks, twirls, and gain experience points as you are swinging throughout the entire city of New York. It's a lot of fun, and if you just look at the animation as you swing, it's just so enjoyable. You can run on top of buildings, you can climb up and do all the type of sorts of stuff with the spider powers of Miles Morales. And with the way how the swinging works, it's just as beautiful as how Insomniac created it for the 2018 video game of Spider-Man. But in my personal opinion, I actually feel like I like the swinging a bit more in this game, because Miles Morales can do so much more than what you were able to do in the first game, and that's something that I feel like Miles Morales kind of improved, is the swinging. Another thing I love about the Miles Morales game is the combat. Similar to the previous 2018 game of Spider-Man, the hand-to-hand combat is another thing that I have a blast with when I play this game. Because you not only press the square button several times, you are given so many challenges to fight several henchmen in each and every level of this game. And it's also a lot of fun to do the finisher moves when you have to press the triangle and circle button to finish off your enemies. And one of the new additions that this game adds is the powers of Miles Morales. Miles Morales in this game can do a Venom Punch, in which he charges himself with electricity and can shock his enemies with a punch. It's all handled very well, and sometimes those finisher moves are just completely out of the world, and they're really badass to continue to play. I mean, that is some of the things that I love about this game. Now, story mode of Spider-Man Miles Morales is where I have mixed feelings. I'm not trying to say that I did not enjoy the story mode, because I love the story of the game. I mean, when you follow the story of Miles Morales and his footsteps of becoming the next Spider-Man, you really care for him, and when you play him as the character and when you watch the cutscenes, you really root for this character and you can completely relate to how his struggles are in his life in New York City. But what falters this story of Miles Morales in the video game is the fact that it's a lot shorter than the first game of 2018 of Spider-Man. The 2018 version of Spider-Man had a much longer and complex story, and there were way more missions that you can complete. And also in the 2018 version of Spider-Man, you not only played as Peter Parker as Spider-Man, you even played as Miles Morales, Mary Jane Watson, and that's kind of where I have to halt on the storyline. Is just, I feel like, in my personal opinion, that the story is a little better in the 2018 version of Spider-Man PlayStation 4. This still has a great story where you can care for Miles Morales, but I just felt like it wasn't as complex as I thought it would be for story mode for this video game. I honestly wish that the story mode of this game was a lot longer, because it would have built the character of Miles Morales a lot more as the new Spider-Man. And don't get me wrong, the character of Miles Morales is built perfectly and how he learns to become the Spider-Man character. But I just wish that there were more missions to complete for him to build himself up as Spider-Man through an emotional aspect, and there are a lot of emotional scenes. But overall, that's just a minor nitpick that I have with this video game. I still have a blast playing this on the PlayStation 4. Even though I don't have the PS5 yet, it's still worth the purchase for the PS4. And I know a lot of people will have their own issues with the game, and it's all a subjective opinion on what you thought of this video game. But overall, I still recommend this game. It's a lot of fun if you love playing the PlayStation video games, or if you're a Spider-Man or Miles Morales fan, this game is for y'all. But because of those things, I have to give this game a good 9 out of 10. I think it will be cool for me to do more game reviews this year, not just movie reviews. I will continue movie reviews, but I also had fun making this game review because of how much I enjoyed Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's a game that I still want to replay and just create a new profile for myself just to do the story mode again. And that's just all I have to say about Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PlayStation 4. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Thank you as always, guys!